Hey, it's Mike here, and today we're going to be taking a look at a video called 42 Recession-Proof Money Hacks 2023 from a guy named Alex Hormozi. Now, you might be familiar with Alex. He's really kind of almost come out of nowhere over the last couple of years, where in fact he's actually been building like $1 million businesses. He's got a huge net worth. He's probably going to talk about it in this video here. I'm going to go ahead and like this video. If you guys can please like my video as well, it really helps out with my channel and I appreciate it so much. If you're not subscribed already, hit that subscribe button and bell notification. Let's jump into it.
42 recession-proof money secrets. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Alex Hormozi. I sold 2 of my companies last year for $46.2 million, and my current portfolio at acquisition.com is over $200 million a year.
And this guy has $200 million a year. That's crazy.
I want to take 10 years of money secrets that worked in both boom and bust economies so that you can save the decade and apply them today. Number one,
So he's come out of nowhere. It's interesting. Alex Hormozi is one of these guys. He's got like nothing to sell on his YouTube channel. He always says that he's got like, I have nothing to sell you unless you are making like millions and then I want to work with you. But he's made millions doing like gym. He had a business where he was like selling, he created his own successful gym and he actually was helping other people do it as well. I don't know, but he's doing very, very well.
Gives the money has the power. So a lot of times poor people, they're always trying to get money, The person who gives the money is the one who's in control. Like if you think about the biggest institutions in the world, what are they? Banks. What do they do all day? They give money. When you give someone money, you get to dictate the terms. You actually now own them. Number two, never trade reputation for money because you can get money back, but you can't get reputation back. If you think about reputation as something that compounds over time, the longer you have it, the more you build it, the more it compounds unto itself. It is your brand, which allows you to do more deals, do bigger deals, do them faster. The moment you lose the rep because you traded it for money in the short, you cut the compounding, and that's where all of the gains in life come from.
And that's like if you were to go out there and you see these big influencers that are like pumping and dumping like a cryptocurrency, and they do it for the money, and then they get caught doing it, and then their reputation is just toast.
Number three, money loves speed, wealth loves time, poverty loves indecision. Micro, money loves speed. You want to move quickly, respond fast to customers, follow up with your leads, etc. But when you think
money does love speed, but if you act too fast, you don't think about it a little bit. They say like that. They have a negative thing about indecision there, but still, you still need to make good decisions.
Think about building wealth. It's not about transacting. It's about letting that compounding happen, and that takes time, and it takes not interrupting it. Most people never achieve either of those things because they sit in indecision. Four, we can always make more money than we need. This is a belief that has served my wife and I really, really well.
We can always make more money than we need. I mean, that sounds great for a guy that has like $200 million or whatever it is, but a lot of people are really struggling, so I don't know.
We look back on our lives and we've never not been able to eat, not had shelter, and we've continued to increase our skill set. A lot of times we have this desire, or our animal brain wants to make us make decisions out of scarcity, out of fear. We don't need any of the money that's coming because we have always had enough.
Yeah, but you've always had enough, but I'm sure there are people watching right now that have struggled, that maybe haven't had enough, that had to make decisions and sell things and do things that they didn't want to do just because they didn't have enough. So that might be one of those things that maybe not everyone's gonna be connecting to.
Fortunes are made by taking a lot of risk with a little bit of money, and fortunes are maintained by taking a little bit of risk with a lot of money. Somebody who's self-made had nothing, and so they risked everything in order to make it big. But the thing is when you have nothing, you're not risking a lot. You have nothing to lose, which makes you dangerous, which is one of the biggest advantages of having nothing. But if you continue to do that when you do have something to lose, you can lose your fortune. And so you have to change the behavior once you have the castle, once you have the empire.
It's like people that make a little bit of money and then they bet it all on Dogecoin or Bitcoin or whatever. There's a guy, if you look up the Dogecoin millionaire, there's a guy that had invested a little bit of money in Dogecoin. He got up to like $2-3 million and he hung on to it, and now it's worth like under $1 million. So it's still a lot of money, but he could have, if he had cashed it out and then started taking lesser risks with that money, he'd be worth a lot more now.
6, money flows where attention goes. If you spend time thinking about fashion all day, your attention's going towards buying clothes. If you think about cars all day, it's going towards your car. If you're thinking about your business all day, it should be going towards your business. Pick one thing, go all in, because you only have so much juju. Think about it like a magnifying glass, and you're the sun in this instant, and you've got to burn a hole to get through to the next level. If you're spread across too thin of an area, you never get enough concentrated heat. Most people have the potential, but they don't have the focus, which is why they can never break through.
Which is why I always tell people, people, don't try to do like Facebook ads and Instagram ads and Quora and Pinterest and all these different things at the same time. Focus on one thing until it works, and then move on to something else.
7, your home life and your business life have to be aligned money-wise. So you can't try to grow a business and like reinvest everything here while you're living a super lavish lifestyle trying to flex. Like, it has to be aligned. All of our business rules around money are also our home rules around money. And so if we don't live with any debt within our personal lives, we do the same thing within our business lives. 8, ignore money advice from poor people. This may sound...
That's such a really good one. There's so many poor people that want to give advice. So many people, they're like, oh, you should do this, you should do that. But you really need to look at like who you're taking advice from.
Ridiculous, but let me say it differently. Ignore money advice from your dad or mom who are poorer than you want to be, from your good friends who are poorer than you want to be, from people who have smaller dreams for your life than you do. The reason that rich people can lose everything and then recreate it is because they see reality more accurately. The reason people can't make money is because they don't see reality the way it actually is. Most of life is trying to pull these rocks out of our vision so that we can see more clearly.
That's why I always think to myself, like the decisions that you're making in your life right now, are you doing the same thing that everyone else is doing? And if you are, you have to expect the same results that they're getting as well. So if you want to be exceptional at one thing, you need to be making the same type of decisions that the other people that are exceptional at those things are as well.
9, it's always easier to buy than to sell. You want to get into a stock, you want to get into something, you can buy it instantly. You want to get into a real estate deal, you want to get into a business, you have to be extra careful. You want to put all the slow on the buy, and you want to put all the lubricant on the sell. 10, money is fickle. Money is jealous. It sticks and goes to the person who pays it the most attention. Money comes into the system, but there are these grooves in the ground where it all eventually flows up to the few people who pay it the most attention. Someone gets paid, they go buy their groceries, the grocery person has to go buy for the supplier buys it from whatever, but the person who has the access is the one who pays it the most attention, is the one who it sticks to at the end. 11, we stay poor until we've learned all the lessons that poverty has to teach. People stay in poverty, but they're not trying to pay attention to like, what lesson do I need to be learning that I'm not? Actually taking action, learning how to save money at a basic level, personal finance.
What's up, guys?
A lot of people, yeah, they don't do that. They don't learn personal finance. There's Graham Stephan here. He's a guy I definitely follow. He does a really good job as well. And you need to be learning. You need to be making sure that you are like really knowledgeable. And unfortunately, they don't teach this kind of stuff at schools.
It's Graham here.
These are the lessons that we have to learn in poverty to get out of poverty. And until you do that, you don't beat the level. 12, frugality drives innovation. Even when you have money, one of the best things to do, in my opinion, is constrain your resources, constrain time. It'll force you to think creatively to solve problems without using money as the solution.
I still think that if you've got resources, sometimes I'm really cheap with my spending in my business. And I think to myself, okay, if I just spent a little bit more outsourcing something or getting something else done, I could spend more time on things that would actually make money. So I think that, I mean, you don't want to be throwing money at everything just because you have it, but still, if you've got it, you should spend a little of it on like going to the next level.
And if you have constraints right now on time and or money, don't see it as a disadvantage, because it's what people who do have money try to get into to solve problems. And the only thing that's at the disadvantage is thinking it is. 13, think once before investing, think twice before spending. Investing is something that you're putting money into that is going to give you a return of some kind. It's either going to give you a skill that's going to increase your earning capacity, or it's going to be something that's going to quite literally give you a return in terms of it's going to be yield or worth more in the future. Spending is something that's going to never be worth more in the future, and it's going to be consumed. 14.
Yeah, the money's gone. When you spend it, it's gone. And depending upon what you've bought, I mean, that money is not going to make you any more. And it's just that opportunity is gone.
Money flows to the person who needs it the least. The rich get richer because they don't need it. And because they don't need it, they have leverage. You have to sell not from your own wallet, but from the person in front of you. Come to the table.
What is that? You have to sell from the person in front of you? I'm not sure what that means.
With other options. It's the person who needs nothing who's the person who has the most power. And that's where the money will go. 15, we make money. Our money does not make us. You start tying your self-worth to your net worth. Then your net worth, it's...
Yeah, that's not good to do. And I've done that before, is like my net worth would go down and I'd be all depressed about it, but it's not, I mean, it's just money. And if I think, oh, if I'm not worth, if my portfolio is not at 1 million or whatever, then I'm not worth a lot, then I really need to think about that. So make sure you don't let that happen to you.
Self becomes a liability to your own self-esteem. It is my ability to make money, which is what creates my value, not the money itself, because the money itself can be taken. My family was in the Iranian Revolution and everything they had was taken. All it takes is one government saying, oh, all that land, all those cars, all those homes, those are ours now. And that's it. And so a lot of people have this idea of legacy and permanence that's just an illusion, which is why we make our money doesn't make us. 16, it may be an amazing opportunity, but not our amazing opportunity.
You have to be careful what opportunities that you go after, because there's lots of them, but if you're not able to put all your energy into it, then you should run away.
One of the things that I needed early on was permission to not do things. Because in the beginning, you don't know how to do anything. You're analysis paralysis and you just get scared. And once you get over that, the problem is that your yes muscle becomes too flexed. You start saying yes to everything. We should do this thing and we should do this thing together. You say, dude, I think it's an amazing opportunity. I just don't think it's my amazing opportunity. And it's gotten me out of so many situations that I know long-term wouldn't have been good.
You got to say no. And it was hard for me to say no in the beginning, but now that I'm in a position of being able to do that, it makes my life a lot easier. And I think priorities change as well. Like I've got 2 little kids now that I want to spend time with. So I think that changes over your life, where you are, and whether it's financially or personally. 17, we control the money flow wherever possible. People who have a lot of control, payment processors. Everybody thinks they're amazing until the day you can't process money. Yeah, that sucks. If you've ever had an issue with that, if you've ever had your PayPal go down, or you've had an issue with the processor, it sucks. And so the idea is the further upstream you can go, the more leverage and control you have over the money. Banks get the money and then they give it back later. The person who's furthest upstream the money has the most power over it. 18, always have a no shit fund. Me knowing that I can take whatever risk I want and I am still protected and everything that I have for the rest of my life is taken care of, gives me a lot of peace, which allows me to be more aggressive, be more offensive. As soon as you can, have your oh shit fund, whether it's 3 months, whether it's 6 months, start putting that away, that nut, so that you can go more on the offensive. And I've got that as well. You have the money put aside just in case things happen. If the stock market goes down or if one of my housing investments goes down, then I have a way out. 19, the biggest eroder of wealth is ignorance. Not knowing how to make $1 million is costing you whatever you make every year minus $1 million. And so if you make 50 grand a year, it costs you $950,000 a year to not know how to make $1 million, which is why I put so much money into paying down this invisible hand that's been suppressing my income my whole life, and yours too. I don't know, like not knowing how to make $1 million. Can everyone make $1 million? I don't think so. I don't know. They always say like that anyone can, but I think it takes like a lot of opportunity. It takes time, it takes skill. So I'm not sure about that. 20, you get paid for the value you create times your ability to negotiate divided by how hard you are to replace. If you provide something that's very valuable and you're very good at negotiating, but somebody else can provide the exact same thing as you for 1/10 of the price, you still don't have that good of a negotiating position. Making money is capturing a percentage of the value that you create for other people. Like I've got people that work for me doing specific jobs, and if someone came to me and was like, I want a $5 raise, I'd say no. I've got other people that would do the same thing for me. But if I had someone working for me that like was just indispensable, that would just work their butt off, that knew like I couldn't get by without them, and they wanted a raise, I'd give it to them. 21, mistakes love a rushed decision. I've trained myself now enough that like when I say mistakes love a rushed decision, but he was also talking earlier about how money loves speed, and that indecision it leads to poverty or whatever it was. But so I don't know, those are a little bit going against each other. Feel FOMO, I pause. FOMO means slow go. Mistakes love a rush decision. And so it's just one of those easy beliefs that has slowed me down and has saved me so much money. 22. I don't know, but when I think about fear of missing out, like when everyone was like, Bitcoin was around 63,000 or whatever. And I was like, oh no, have I missed it? Everyone's talking about it's going to double now. And I'm sure there are people that invested at that point. Hopefully not you. And then it went down to what? It's like 20,000 something now. So I was afraid of missing out on it, but I'm really happy I did. Leverage comes from not needing the other person. And more specifically, leverage comes from needing nothing. You can't control somebody who needs nothing. I love that. I love that. Right? If someone needs nothing, you have no influence over them. How do I become that person? The monks do it by relinquishing everything and needing nothing. And the rich man does it by satisfying all of his needs and not needing the deal on the other side of the table. In both of those situations, you create leverage. I mean, if you think about it, we're looking at houses right now. And if I go into a housing deal and I really, really want it, like if you've ever gone, whether to rent an apartment or to buy one, and you really, really liked it, one of the things that you definitely didn't want to do is show that to them, because if they see that, then they know that you really, really want it and that they have a lot more leverage. So you definitely don't want to show that. 23, markets take longer to adjust than you expect, and then they move faster than you can imagine. The Big Short, if you saw that movie, the guy was shorting for like 4 years, and he's like, the math doesn't make sense. The bubble kept going, bubble kept going, bubble kept going, and then
It happened faster than people imagine. We have to be comfortable with the fact that we might have to sit in discomfort for an extended period of time before what we believe to be reality is reflected. 24, money is a game, treat it as such. You can't
It is a game. And it's a scary game sometimes. It's a fun game sometimes, but it's a game.
win the game if you don't know you're playing one. The wealthiest people in the world see money as a game. They don't even use money to satisfy material needs because they already have it. How can I adopt that perspective earlier on in my career? Thinking about things in terms of personal bests, bank account PRs. What gets measured gets improved. You can get someone to lose weight just by simply getting them to.
I love that. What gets measured gets improved. And that's why if you're ever driving like traffic or you're doing paid ads or something, if you can measure that, then you can improve it and you get better on it. That's I used to do, and I'm probably going to start doing them again at some point, income reports. And that was really good for me. And when I was first starting, by being able to measure my success and failures at the same time.
Weigh themselves every day without giving them
And weigh myself. When I wanted to lose weight, I also definitely every day weigh myself.
any advice at all. Just if you pay attention to it, it will start sticking to you. 25, don't bet the empire for a pot of gold. Even though you might have this opportunity here, it's never worth risking the whole pie. And I can't tell you the amount of times where I'm like, man, if I went all in on this thing, money-wise. So the thing is that you can go all in on your attention, but I wouldn't go all in on your money. 26, always do a starter deal with new faces. So this is a hard one. One of your friends comes to you and it's like, dude, I want to do this Airbnb thing, or hey, I've got this. Do a starter deal first. You got to see how these people are. Everything should still look great on paper. Everything should still make sense. They should still be amazing characters, etc. You still mitigate your risk by saying, first deal I'm gonna do with you is a small deal. 27, trust is worth more than a bigger return. Trust lubricates deal velocity. Trust compounds. You don't want to take all the meat on the bone because you want to have a long-term relationship. When I talk to partners, when I talk to business owners, how they talk about the people that they do business with tells you a lot about them and how they do business. When I talk to somebody and I'm like, hey, why didn't you do this? They're like, hey, these guys have been good to us for a very long time. We've had a very good relationship for 10 years. That is something I respect a lot.
I like that too.
And that is what people who have money act like. Poor people are always trying to win over everyone over and over again, and they never get any trust from anybody, which means they have no compounding relationships. 28, money is not a zero-sum game. The older I've gotten, the more I'm like, how can I get onto their side of the table and both make money together? Why don't we both take a big piece of this upside rather than slice up a pie that's in front of us? 29, never take a standard deal. There's always a better one. There's always
That's interesting.
a better deal, and a lot of times you just have to ask for it. Hey,
Just asking for it is perfect. If you just a lot of times if you just ask, you might think you're not going to get it, and maybe you're not, but at least ask.
this term and this term and this term are things that are concerning to me. Is there anything we can do about these? Remember earlier, leverage comes from not needing the deal. You have to be willing to walk away. And I can't tell you the amount of times that I've walked away from a deal and the person comes back after saying, well, I can't do a deal. And I'm like, cool, no worries. And they come back 3 or 4 days later and they're like, all right, man, I'll do the deal. And then I might be like, hey, well, the terms have changed. I'm kidding. 30, expect low risk, amazing returns. The wealthiest friends that I have who are billionaire plus, they're just not interested in 10, 20% returns. They're looking for 50% plus annualized returns. Most people expect 10% because that's what the S&P does. It doesn't mean that that has to be your personal standard. Thinking through that way has changed how I saw investing in general.
I still am happier with lower returns and less risk.
31, don't think in IRR, which means internal rate of return. Instead, think in how long will this take to double? How long will this take to triple? It's hard to say this is gonna grow by 25% a year. What is easier to say is this is gonna double in 3. Changing how you ask the question changes how you'll find the answer. 32, this is a Buffettism, but diversification is a hedge against ignorance. And it's only risky if you don't know what you're doing. There's a million games and all of them make tons of money. And so it's really about taking one game and taking it to its natural conclusion, which is learning every single aspect of that game, rather than saying, I wanna be in stocks, I wanna be in real estate, I wanna be in crypto, I wanna also have my side hustles, you can't get good at any of them because you're competing against people who are all in.
That's the thing. I like that you can't compete against the people that are all in. But I still definitely need to be diversified.
Play one game and play it well. 34, I skipped 33 because I covered it in that last one. Returns are in the terms. Everybody who's watching this, if you make money doing anything that's a side hustle, I'll pay you $1 billion for your business, but it's on my terms. And I can make that deal every time and not lose money. Understanding the terms of the agreement and how many different ways you can make terms. And the only way you do that is through having the conversations and trying to structure it from learning from other people. 35, whenever possible, use house money. If you have the opportunity to recoup your principal and still have money in the game, do that. Then you can get super aggressive with the investments and things like that you're making, but you're doing it on house money. You're doing it with no chance of losing principal. 36, always know how to get your money back. You have to know the exact way of doing it, not just like, oh yeah, I can get my money back. It's like, no, but but how would I do it? Walk me
You're like, is this with an investment or something? I'm a little confused.
through each of the steps so that I have full understanding of how this would work. If they actually don't mean it, then they won't have a way to do it and you'll be able to sniff something out immediately. 37, cash flow is king.
Yeah, cash is definitely king.
All right, and that's both on a personal level and on a business level. So for you, your cash flow is gonna be dictated by your income minus your expenses. It's really your savings flow. If there's one thing that you get from money rules, is that you be switching your metric towards what am I saving every month rather than what am I making every month. 38, buy for forever. This is a Warren Buffett and Charlie.
That's an interesting one. Buy forever, and then you're just never going to sell anything. I mean, it's a lot. It's when you sell something, whether it's a stock or real estate. I mean, there are selling fees. We're going to lose a lot of money in the process. I like that. Buy forever.
Charlie says the money isn't made in the buy or the sell. It's made in the wait. If you could never sell anything you buy when you are buying, you could never get out of it. Then you buy differently and you buy super long. And then ultimately that's what doesn't interrupt the compounding process, and that's what unlocks huge wealth later. 39, you heard me say it earlier, but FOMO means go slow. You feel FOMO, it means slow down. It means take a second, give a breather, put some space between you and the decision. And the only reason you feel FOMO is because your time horizon is too short. 40, if you can't afford to lose the money, then don't use the money.
I love that, yeah.
If you're like, this is my last dollar, then it's probably not a good idea to risk it.
I always tell people that, like, there'll be people talking about buying a software or doing a coaching or something, and they were going to spend their rent money or something. I'm like, are you crazy? No, you need to get in a position where you don't need, like, you're not going to be spending your last dollar there. It's just going to be too risky for you.
Right, which is why we always have the oh shit fund. 41, peace of mind can be bought and it can be sold. If there are situations where you're like, man, this is going to keep me up at night, don't do it.
Yeah.
Peace of mind can very much be bought and sold, and I can tell you make much better decisions when you've got it. 42 and final. A lot of people think about diversification in terms of industry, but they don't think about it in terms of capital stack. A bank, for example, is at the top. It's a preferred creditor. There's a reason a lot of banks don't lose money, and it's because they're the first creditors. So you can think about diversification between like stocks, crypto, businesses, whatever, but you can also think about it vertically in terms of where am I sitting on the stack. If you think about those in terms of both types of diversification, when the tide goes out, you're the one who gets your money back first.
So what do you guys think about this? A lot of this stuff is pretty much a little bit high level, but I think it can be applied to a lot of different businesses. And whether you are just starting out or if you are at the point where your business is actually making money, you can apply these as well. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this video. And please, as always, hit that like button. It really helps out with my YouTube channel, and I appreciate it. And subscribe and hit that bell notification if you want more videos from me. Thank you so much for watching. See you again in the next one.